The Monday Morning Cooking Club got together about 10 years ago, coming up to our 10th anniversary, which is very exciting. Have to have a big cookathon on that day. And we set in our goals to find the best recipes from the best cooks in Australia's Jewish community, and then to write a book about it.
And we test recipes and we trial, and 10 years later we're all still smiling, still together and still having a great time.
And telling stories, because the recipes are beautiful, but the stories that are documented are really special.
So along the way, particularly in the first book, we realised that we were uncovering these heirloom recipes that were so precious to families. And we realised how important it is to document our recipes for other people.
Because there's so many beautiful recipes that families have that come and go, and all you have is a memory of it and a taste in your mind. So we wanted to get them and let people have them forever.
On the weekend before the week that we're about to cook, we choose the recipes. Monday morning we meet with all the ingredients and all the recipes laid out on the bench, and everyone takes one recipe pretty much, or sometimes one recipe between two, and we try to get through probably 6, 7 or 8 recipes in a day. And then we cook for about 2.5 hours. And then we sit down at this table and we eat, and that's the fun part. And we sit and we taste and we talk and we debate. I'm not allowed to say argue, but we do argue sometimes. And then move on to what we're going to do the next day. Today we are making one of our favourite dishes. It's called Beef Chiatanee. And what's good about it is you do it in the morning, stick it in the oven, and then it's ready when you come home.
And it's great for people who want to be introduced to a curry. Great one for kids.
We've got to start off with the beef. We're using chuck steak because it's got a little bit of fat in it, and that makes it suitable for hours and hours in the oven. And it's important to do them in batches, because if I put all of this in at once, it's going to stew and it's not going to brown. We're going to put this in, and you want it to sizzle. If it doesn't sizzle, it's not hot enough. Just let it brown on one side of the beef before you start tossing it around. So it's really important, as I said, not to do it in one batch, to really do it in a couple of batches. And we've got all this crusty bit at the bottom of the pan that's going to add layers of flavour to the dish. And then we're going to add the rest of the meat and just repeat exactly what we've done.
So while we're waiting for the second batch of beef, I'll get on with the onions. So I've peeled and quartered the onions here, and I'm going to use a food processor, the Wizz Pro, which I just love. It's the workhorse of my kitchen. Perfect. Going to put in the capsicums as well, or peppers, depending on where you come from. I think that's pretty good. Done. 1 kilo of onions.
And now the onions are going to go on top of that, and imagine all those meat juices are going to be absorbed by the onions. It makes it really good. It's great because the onion and capsicum are quite finely chopped. It would take you an hour to do this by hand, and we've just done it in 5 seconds. So this is the part that just takes a little bit of time. Probably, I'd give it 15, yeah.
So let's put in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You can always put a touch more to your taste when it's finished. Don't you love it when the house smells of onion?
We've always said it should be a perfume, fried onion.
Ginger and garlic.
We're going to put in the spices.
Yep.
Let's start with ground coriander, paprika, that's sweet paprika as opposed to hot paprika, some ground cumin, and some garam masala.
Love the smell of garam masala.
And then we've got another 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric and pepper.
Okay.
So 1/2 teaspoon of that. And it's really important before it goes into the slow cooker to make sure you've cooked them off, so that you don't have that raw spice taste throughout. And that is just ready for the next step, I think.
So I've got about 1/2 kilo of beautiful ripe tomatoes that need to be chopped. And in a couple of pulses, they'll be done and ready. Ready to go. Okay?
Okay, so the next step, tomatoes, and we've got tomato paste as well.
I think the tomato paste probably thickens it up a little bit also.
And then once that's stirred through, it's time to add the meat back in, and all the juices that have accumulated at the bottom of the dish can go right back in. So everything's in, and then that just needs one big mighty stir. So now we've got to preheat the oven to slow cook. We're using the smart oven on the slow cooker setting. That's it. So this looks absolutely delectable already. It's not even cooked yet. And now we're going to need some foil.
Yeah, I'll go get the foil
to cover it.
I like doing it with a double layer.
I agree.
all those flavours are going to stay in the pot and not evaporate.
Going in the oven. Don't need to do anything now for 8 hours, and then dinner's ready.
And what I love is if I'm out at the end of the 8 hours, the oven is going to automatically switch to keep warm, and dinner will be ready when I get home. There's no cooling down.
It's a bonus. It's a great idea. How good does it? Can you smell it?
I can.
Amazing.
I can. Great.
Okay. Ready? This is my favourite part actually of the whole day, is when you take the foil off and you get this smell of all those spices. It's amazing. Okay.
Oh, fantastic.
So now we're going to add in the vinegar, the sugar and the curry leaves. So the vinegar goes in, the sugar
Right.
and the curry leaves, and that just then needs a quick stir just to get everything through from top to bottom.
Oh, it just finishes it off.
Oh, it smells unbelievable.
Smells fantastic.
And that's going to go in the oven for another 5 minutes, and then it's ready to eat.